Good morning, students. Hope you're all doing well. So, for this semester, I'll be handling a HR specialization subject to you, that is talent and knowledge management. As of this subject is concerned, it is going to be a very informative and a very important subject for those who's going to take yourself forward in the HR stream, who are going to make their career in the HR stream. Okay. Now, first of all, let me thank you, each and every one of you, whosoever have whosoever has chosen this HR specialization, because many people have this misconception in their minds telling that HR specialization is not going to get you better jobs. Now, let me tell you, the market always has a requirement for people who are going to work in the field of HR. Okay, so you should always understand that anything and everything that we do it for a purpose, right? So HR specialization has a lot of avenues. You have a lot of new opportunities and new job titles coming up today, where you can definitely find a job even in this domain as well. Okay, so firstly, I wanted to congratulate all of you for having made the right choice of taking up HR specialization in your fourth semester. Now, in this specialization, I will be handling one specialization subject, that is talent and knowledge management. Okay, so the structure of the presentation will be going like this. Firstly, I will be giving you a brief introduction about, or say, I'll be introducing you or orienting you towards the syllabus, as to what all things that we will be discussing. Secondly, we will be going for every single module and we will be doing it in detail. We will be solving some cases. I will be sharing some videos with you which you can go through and accordingly start learning. Right? So let us first understand the necessity for us to study a subject on talent and knowledge management. Now, we know that the economy to some extent has furnished a lot of details, all of these details which are going to help us for better human management. We know that today's world is going to be a global scenario concept oriented, which means everybody working in companies are trying to find the best ways, the best approaches to have a better sustainable work environment. Keeping these factors in mind, we need to know that if you as a human resource do not possess the right amount of skill set and experience and expertise, then it becomes a challenge for companies to actually work, or say get you to do work. So what are we trying to understand here basically is, you need to know that today's world, corporates have a lot of expectations from their employees. Now, here, from the perspective of this subject, we do not, from now on, we do not use the term employees. Instead, we replace the term employees or workforce with another term called as talent resources. Now, how do we differentiate just an employee or a workforce with that of talent resource? Any employee who comes to work, like he logs into the office and he logs off out of the office, he finishes whatever task is being given to him, and then he goes back home. So there is nothing much he's doing personally as an initiative. All that he's doing is he's just coming, swiping in, getting into the office, sitting in his seat, and then doing the task which is given to him on a routine fashion. And then once if he's done with his work, he just logs out and then moves, right? So the point here is, such people who do not add any value for the company can be rightfully termed as just employees or workforce of the company. But on the other hand, on the contrary, if you see, there are some employees who take that extra step initiative to do something for the betterment of the company. Like they can come and initiate a process, they can help set up a new department or a new section, or they can also come and give you some very good ideas, innovative ideas, which can be used in order to take advantage or leverage of the market conditions in the form of opportunities, right? So it is the second type of person whom we term as talent resource for companies. Let me make it very clear. Today's world, or in today's scenario, companies or corporations do not want just employees. They want people who have that extra zeal, that extra element in them, which is required for companies to sustain their operations for a longer period of time. So here we are referring to the second type, that is talent resources, who take initiatives, who voluntarily come up with some sort of solutions, and they want to try and test new things and find a way in which they can sustain the business operations for a long period of time, keeping in mind two factors. One, the competition level that that firm where they are working with has with the other competing firms. The second is the environmental factors, especially the PESIL environment, that is the external environment, that is political, economic, legal, technological, and then natural. So this is how we need to understand and orient ourselves towards studying this particular subject. I hope you have understood the essence of the subject, right? So now we will be discussing on the syllabus of your subject. Firstly, this subject is further categorized into, as you can see here, it is further categorized into totally 6 modules. Okay, so I'll just give you a brief up of each of these modules, and I'll tell you what all things are going to be important as well. Firstly, in the module 1, we will be discussing purely about the concepts of talent and talent management. Okay, so here first we need to describe or understand the meaning of talent or talent resources, or who qualifies to become a talent for a company. And then talent, the engine of new economy. Here we are trying to understand that how money acts as a major influencer to determine the success rate of the country's economy. Similarly, having the right number of talent resources also gives you good amount of success in the long run, right? This is from the company's perspective. This is also from the macro perspective, that is going to be the economy's perspective, right? The second thing is the difference between talent and knowledge workers. So who's a knowledge worker, or who's just an employee, versus who's going to be a talent resource for the company? What are the factors which differentiates amongst themselves, right? And then leveraging talent is nothing but, in English literature, leverage means to take advantage of. So here in this topic, we'll be discussing about the various ways and forms in which you can take advantage of talent resources in a company. And the next is the talent value chain. The moment you see the terms value chain is nothing but, it is going to be a series of connected activities which forms a system or a chain, and every activity is related and interrelated with one another. Now, ultimately, we form these series of activities to take place in order to deliver value for the company, and any problem in any element of this chain can have an impact on the overall success rate of the company, right? So here, what we're trying to understand is, how can we build a talent value chain? How can we make a chain of talent resources for the company? And how can this be deployed to take better advantages? And second, and the last would be elements of talent friendly organization. Now we will be discussing what are the various elements or variables which constitutes a talent friendly organization. Fine. So this is all about module 1. Coming to module 2, we will be discussing about something called as talent management and talent management system. Fine. So here we'll be discussing the elements, the benefits and challenges of talent management system. First of all, we need to understand what a TMS is, that is talent management system, and then how is it different from just talent management, and then building blocks of talent management, which basically includes these things like competencies that you must have, performance management practices, evaluating employee potentials, and so on. And we also will have to identify what are the various modern practices in talent attraction, selection, retention, and engagement. Now, let me tell you, this portion that you see here is going to be very important, because you can expect a lot of 5 marks and 10 mark questions from this. Okay. And then we come to the next element, that is talent management and social media. So here we are going to see how talent resources are being taken or procured from the industry or from the markets. Okay. Now, how do we do this? Can we take advantage of social media to procure talent resources from the market? There is always this focus of demand and supply. Demand is how many talent resources a company wants or your company wants, versus how much is available in the market, which is nothing but the supply factor. So can we bridge the gap between the demand and supply for talent resources with the help of social media as a tool? Can we do it? If yes, how do we do it? What are the processes and activities involved in that? All of that will be discussed here. Fine. And then the emerging trends in talent management. This is going to be like the future scope, like what is going to happen tomorrow, what is going to come up tomorrow, and how ready and sure we are to face what's going to happen tomorrow in the field of talent management. Fine. The next is we'll be going discussing about module 3. So in module 3, as we know, here we are going to discuss about talent planning. So what is talent planning? Like, see, we have discussed, I mean, probably in your HR specialization subjects like HRM and human capital management, you would have discussed about HR planning, right? Human resource planning. What is human resource planning? It is a systematic process where a company decides what should be the right number and quantity, that is quantity and quality of talent resources for the company, right? Similarly here, we do not want just human resources, but we want talent resources. So here what we will be basically doing is we will make a plan to decide what should be the right quantity and quality of talent resources required for a company. A plan which is made for such purposes is rightfully termed as talent planning. And then we go for succession management process. Again, I'll be telling you what it is and the process and the steps involved in it. Then what do we mean by cross-functional capabilities? Then fusion of talents, talent development budget. Yes, anything and everything that you do today in companies, you go with something called as a budget. A budget is like a fixed statement which gives you the avenues for getting in cash inflows, and also shelling out money for your expenses and other investment activities. So it is going to tell you how much of resources are required for you to actually carry out the talent development activities. Okay. And then value driven cost structure, contingency plans for talent, building talent, what are the steps involved, and then very important, leadership coaching. So under leadership coaching, we'll be discussing about the concept of leadership coaching, what is the process involved, what are the pros and cons of leadership coaching, how or what are the ways in which you can effectively handle the concept of leadership coaching or the process of leadership coaching. All of that becomes essential. And then we go to module 4, where we discuss about return on talent. As we all know, anything and everything which is qualitative has to be converted into quantitative data. Only then we'll be able to come up with measurements. Measurements helps us to better identify what should be the actual amount required to invest in a particular activity. Hence, we are going to do that kind of metrics here, which is going to be conversion of qualitative into quantitative data with the help of return on talent, which is very similar to return on investment, right? And then what are the ROT measurements? How do we do it? Is there a quantum based formula for that? And then optimizing investment in talent, how do we optimize that? And integrating compensation with talent management, developing talent management information system, and very important again, psychometrics for talent management. This also has very good potentials to be asked as a question in your exam. Okay. And then we go to the 5th module, where we'll be discussing about the knowledge. See, your syllabus is made in such a way that talent and knowledge management, right? So the talent aspect is being covered first in the first 4 modules. In the 5th module, we'll be discussing about knowledge management. Fine. So coming back to this knowledge economy, here we refer to the importance or significance of knowledge for a company. Now let me make it very clear to you guys. See, we have something called as competencies, right? Competencies or core competencies is nothing but the different ways and forms in which companies can have an edge over their competing firms. Now here we need to understand, apart from product or service or distribution system or pricing, these can be various areas for competence, for having competencies for companies. But to be very specific, knowledge also can be understood as one area of core competency for a company. Hence, we identify that the concept of knowledge management and knowledge administration becomes essential, and accordingly, we start taking up these topics to our syllabus, right? So, knowledge economy, understanding the concepts of knowledge management, what are the different types of knowledge available? It can be tacit knowledge, it can be explicit knowledge, and many more kinds of things which we will be discussing. The knowledge-centric organizations, what are these organizations? How are they different from regular organizations? And the knowledge management framework, where we'll be discussing a model, knowledge creation and capture, again very important. Designing of knowledge management strategy is basically identifying the ways in which you can create a KM strategy. What are the various issues and challenges in knowledge management? Because you need to know, whenever you study a concept, you need to also identify what can be the potential threats, obstacles, bottlenecks, issues and challenges in that field. And how do we see if you are not clear about what the problem is or what the crisis is, you will not know how to think to find a solution or how to take the concepts forward into practical applications. Hence, whatever concept you study, you must also know what are going to be the connected issues and challenges to the concept. Hence, you'll be able to apply real life solutions to these situations when you encounter them on a real scale scenario, right? And the next is implementing knowledge management strategy. What are the steps or what are the approaches involved? Knowledge management metrics and audit, very similar to that of your finance that you've discussed, where we will be discussing about auditing. Similarly, auditing happens here for your KM as well. Now, the next and the last chapter is going to be about module 6. Now, here, if you see, module 6 is purely to do with your work. That is, what is it that you as a student will be doing? Okay, so here it says conduct interviews with 5 senior executives of 2 organizations on the talent and knowledge management practices, wherein you need to identify few companies and you need to conduct a survey and talk to these 5 senior executives of any 2 companies and then find out the best practices or the practices which is practiced there in the company related to talent and knowledge management. Okay, and secondly, we must also be conducting focus group discussion on KM portal. Now, what is this? How do we do it? We'll be discussing it in the further coming sessions. Now, coming to the next topic is pedagogy. Now, pedagogy is basically what is going to be the structure involved in this particular, in imparting these concepts to you people as students. Firstly, we'll be having regular lectures, and then we'll be having seminars and presentations. As and when we proceed, we will see what can be done best. Then we will also have practical exercises like industry and field visit, which is going to be a part of a study. And then individual and group assignments and activities are going to be there. And then we will also be discussing case studies for every topic that we have in this syllabus. Now, coming to the books for reference or the textbooks that you might ask, the first thing I would suggest you about, say, 3 to 4 books. Okay. The first is, if you see, the first book is a good book. Okay. And then we go to the next one, that is the 4th one, and then we can also go to the next one, that is 5th one. Okay, finally we go for the 7th book. So number 1, 4, 5, 7 are the books which you can refer to, which gives you all the details which can match the requirements of your syllabus, right? So as of now, in this session, I've just given you just a brief description of what we are going to discuss in class, in the future. So now what I want you people to do is, you also should start studying and preparing on various topics. And accordingly, whenever you have a doubt, you will let me know, and accordingly we'll sort it out. Fine. So my next video is going to be about the first module. So make sure that you people do go through, do your research. Go on Google, check for facts, and then know what's happening in the markets. And then accordingly do your preparation, do your research, and then we will be starting with the module in the next video. Fine. Thank you. And make sure that you people are connected with me. And anywhere there's a problem in understanding something, you can please let me know. Fine. Yeah. Thank you, students. Take care.